Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm looking forward to doing this webinar today. This is a really fun topic, I think. We're going to be talking about writing and maintaining the European Union Clinical Trials Authorization. Just to give you an idea of what we're talking about today, these are the learning objectives for the webinar. We're going to navigate some of the regulations, directive, and guidelines. We're going to do a brief overview of what they are, what they mean, a little bit of where they came from. We're going to talk about the basic requirements of the Clinical Trials Authorization, which is really the investigational new drug equivalent in the EU. There are some things that are very similar and some things that are very different, so we'll go over those. We'll talk about key documents that are needed for the preparation of each country's CTA. We'll identify specific documents required by each country to support CTA. And we'll determine timelines for reviews by ministries of health and ethics committees and things of that nature. And finally, what is needed to amend and maintain the CTA, including safety and annual reports and updates. So we have this brief background. We're going to talk about the Ctd format, which is very critical to a CTA application and becoming more critical here, even for INDs. There'll be a glossary of terms. We'll talk about good practices. We'll talk about this UDRA-CT or UDRACT number that is very important for clinical trials authorization. All the different pieces of the CTA, including the IMPD, which is equivalent sort of to the IND here in the U.S., all those documents, submission logistics, et cetera, other required documents that we may consider, timeframes, very important, amendments, always important, scientific advice and what that means, and importing drug into the EU from the U.S. So a little information about the European Union. This is a map of the European Union, and basically yellow are those countries that are part of the European Union as it exists today. It started formally in 1951 with a Treaty of Paris. There were certain criteria, they're called the Copenhagen criteria, that the EU would be open to any European country that's a stable, free market liberal democracy that respects the rule of law and human rights. They had to be willing to accept all these obligations of membership that were detailed in the Treaty of Paris, such as adopting all previously agreed law, and they had to agree to switch to the euro. It represents about 800 million people. I think it's a bit more now, but definitely greater than 800 million people. There's a single common market with free movement of goods, people, currency, and services. And any of you who have visited Europe in even the last decade are very familiar with this. There are three key bodies in the EU: the European Commission, the Council of the EU, and the European Parliament. There are 28 member states currently. I think the last one to join was Croatia. I could be wrong. The bolded states were the original member states, the ones that first started. There are 21 official EU languages. It's important to know about these for labeling, which we will talk about later, which is why I point them out. So 28 member states, 21 official languages. So EU enlargement. There's no plans to cease enlargement. The EU is planning to get as big as it can get. 2013 was the last member state to join, which is Croatia. There's priority membership for the rest of the Balkans currently. There are also formal acknowledged candidates: Albania, Iceland, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Turkey. Turkish membership has been pending since the 1980s. This is, I'm interested in history. I don't know if everybody there is, but I find some of this really interesting. So this membership has been pending since the 1980s. It's a contentious issue, but negotiations have been ongoing since 2004. So we'll see what happens with Turkey as time goes on. The European Economic Area is a single market that provides free movement of persons, goods, services, and capital through three of the four member states of the European Free Trade Association and the EU. So it's a little bit larger than the EU. It includes Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. Pending its ratification by all EEA countries, Croatia is also applying to the agreement provisionally, so hopefully they'll be also part of that now that it's part of the EU. This was established in '94 following an agreement between the member states and the EU's predecessor, which was called the European Community. And EFTA states which join the EEA can participate in the EU's single internal market without being actual members. So that what they do is they adopt almost all of the relevant EU legislation, except for laws regarding agriculture and fisheries. So what it gives them is a benefit of a single market without the responsibilities and privileges of the EU membership.